Hi everyone, Will here, and welcome to the channel dedicated to a new combat card game called Fano. In this video I want to walk you through how to play the downloadable video game on my website. The link will be in the description. Currently I've made 3 computer levels to choose from. If you're new to the game, I would suggest playing beginner or intermediate to start. Each jump in level is rather significant. I made it so that beginner can only beat intermediate roughly 2% of all games played. That same jump is true from intermediate to advanced. So if you're splitting wins with intermediate, you can challenge yourself with advanced, but expect it to be difficult. For this video, I'll play against advanced and let you in on some of my strategies and fun move combinations. If you're unfamiliar with the rules, you may want to watch an earlier video or read the instructions online. Let's walk through the board setup and some moves you can and cannot make. The computer is set up to always play as spades, while the default suit for you, the player, is set to be hearts. Each field is set up symmetrically, so I'll describe just one side. Front and center is the commander card, Jack to start. To the right of this is the draw pile, and to the left is an empty discard pile. The 4 slots above the commander with the plus signs are your 4 field slots. And lastly, the 3 face-up cards on the bottom of the screen are the cards we have drawn. On the right of the screen is a window that you can toggle through 2 options. You can either display a notation sheet listing the last 20 moves made, or a list of attacks, more convenient than memorizing or having a printout. You can select cards by clicking on them. A light blue box will appear around cards currently selected. The game will block you from making illegal moves, such as playing a prestige card like our 10 in an empty field slot. It also will block you if you instead want to play your 7 but also have 10 selected. You'll have to deselect the 10 before you can play your 7 in an empty field slot. If instead you want to discard 1 or more cards, we can select all the cards we want to discard and then select the discard pile. Be careful though, moves you make are permanent, so if you find yourself accidentally selecting the discard pile with nothing selected, you'll just end your turn. I'll defer the first turn to my opponent by discarding the drawn prestige. My opponent has played the 5 of spades at the end of turn into one of their empty field slots. And as you can see on the top right-hand corner, the initial move of this game was that hearts discarded a 10. Anytime you see a parentheses in the notation, it means that that card made it to the discard pile. The next move of the game, spades play a 5. If I want to attack the 5, I can move on to the attack list and look at the cards that I have in hand. An ace can attack a 5 for a 6, and a 3 can attack a 5 for a 2. However, 7 cannot attack a 5. So for this, I'll play an ace by selecting the ace and selecting the field slot. The opponent has already moved, and if we're interested in finding out what their moves are, we can go back to the move notation and see that we've played a 1 and the opponent has played a 4. Again, I'm going to refer back to the attacking sheet to find out what my opponent can do to me. They've played a 4, which can attack my ace for a 2, and therefore my ace is vulnerable. So I can do one of 2 things. I can either play another card into an empty field slot, attacking the 4 and the 5, or I can substitute out the ace with the card I have in hand. The best card to play is the 3, because the 3 can attack both the 4 and the 5. So the opponent move is quick, but if we go back to the move list, we can see that they combined a 5 and a 4, and they kept the 5 to hand because the 5 does not have parentheses around it. The 4 made it to the discard pile. And they played a 2 to end their turn. And now it is our turn. The ace can attack the 2 for a 4, removing the cards that they have on field. So we'll do that. We select first the ace, and then we select the card we'd like to attack, in this case the 2. The 4 automatically comes out into play, and the 2 automatically goes to discard. If we go back to the move set, we can see that happening. The ace attacks a 2 for the 4. And for our final move, we can end our turn by playing the 7 into an empty field slot. On this next move, 3 can attack a 5 for a 2. So if we select 3 and attack their 5 for a 2, the 2 comes out into play. We can now utilize our 2 for another main phase option. In this case, we'd like to combine the 2 and 7 for the 9 we have in hand. We can select the 2, and then select the 7, and we'll get a prompt. The prompt will ask you whether or not you'd like to keep one of the 2 cards you're combining, or discard both of them. If you select the discard, both will go to discard. But if you select one of the other two cards, it'll return to your hand. In this case, I do not want to keep either card, so I will select the discard. Now if we go back to our notation sheet, we can see that the 3 was used by hearts to attack the 5 for the 2. Then 2 and 7 combine, and both 2 and 7 went to the discard pile. To end the turn, we'll take the 6 and play it into an empty field slot. So now we're in a position where 3 can attack a 4 for a 6. They have 3 cards on field, 3 cards in the discard pile. That means they have 4 cards, be it in hand or in the deck. It's very likely that they're going to achieve the 6 on the next turn. So in this case, the 4 is extremely vulnerable. And we'll want to get rid of the 4 and play a card that can attack either the 7 or the 3. However, if we play the ace, the 7 can only attack the ace if they have a 3, but the 3 is already on the field. So in this case, the best move would probably be to take the ace and substitute out the 4 with the ace. In the case of substitution, you'll also see which card was discarded in place of that ace. So 4 was discarded in place of ace. When the opponent discards, it's unknown to you, and therefore in the notation sheet you'll see question marks next to the opponent discard. In that last move, the component combined the 2 and the 4 and kept the 2 to hand. They then used the 6 to attack my 7 to place the 2 back out onto the field. Once you have the 8, 9, and 10 out on the field, you have to click the commander card in order to promote. During the game, if at any point you draw the 8, 9, and 10, you're given the option of either discarding all 3 cards and drawing 3 new ones, or keeping the 8, 9, and 10. In this position we have the 2 in hand, so one way to play this would be to combine the ace and 8 for the 9, hold the 8 in hand, and play the 2 for next turn. It's risky, however they already have their 3 in the discard pile. 5 can attack a 2 for a 3, so we don't have to worry about that attack. The only attack we have to worry about is 5 attack 6 for an ace. For this next move, I'll discard my entire hand and allow it to reshuffle, hoping for less prestige cards. To win the game, all you have to do is click the commander card. And that's it. I hope that this video was helpful. If you like Fano, be sure to leave a comment. Until next time, see you soon.